Even though Zero Day was created as a miniseries, it's still possible to continue Robert De Niro's conspiracy thriller for a second season. The ending of Zero Day was fairly definitive. George Mullen, De Niro, reported his findings on the cyber attack, ousted the conspirators in the US government, disbanded the Zero Day Commission, and returned to his quiet retirement. Mullen's decision rocked the entire cast of Zero Day and the country as a whole, but for the most part, the conspiracy thriller's story was over. There is, however, still a way to continue one of Netflix's best TV shows for a second season. Zero Day Season 2 is not confirmed by Netflix, but it is possible. In figuring out its winding, complicated conspiracy, Zero Day touched on a number of subjects, from infringements on the Constitution of the United States to secretive government weapons programs and political extremism. By examining so many different areas of modern politics in the US, Zero Day diversified itself wonderfully, and it opened up several roads and directions to take in the future. So, even though it was intended to end after just one season, Zero Day Season 2 could easily happen in the future. Zero Day was created as a limited series. The story of George Mullen investigating Zero Day is over after Season 1. The main reason Zero Day Season 2 hasn't been confirmed or even hinted at so far is because it was never supposed to happen. Zero Day was written and created to be a limited series, meaning its entire story is done after one season. In essence, Zero Day was the story of George Mullen investigating the cyber attack, not the cyber attack itself, so the show's creators don't feel there's any more story left to tell. George has returned to his private life outside of the public sector, and has left the aftermath and cleanup of Zero Day to other public servants. Zero Day Season 2 can continue the government's investigation into the unknown conspirators. Mueller only uncovered some of Zero Day's conspirators. Richard Dreier, Matthew Modine, with his face obscured in shadow in Zero Day Season 1, Episode 6. While George Mullen's story may have concluded in Zero Day Season 1, the show's overarching narrative hasn't. If Zero Day did decide to return for a second season, it could easily use the new episodes to dive deeper into the conspiracy behind the cyber attack and find the rest of the conspirators that Mullen couldn't oust. Richard Dreier, Matthew Modine, mentioned that the conspiracy had partners who weren't in the room with the members of the US government. Additionally, Mullen himself noted that there are most certainly more conspirators from within government and outside it. Mullen may have outed the members of the US government that were involved in the Zero Day cyber attacks, but there's still plenty of other leads to hunt down. It's easy to imagine Zero Day Season 2 following a newly appointed head of a commission to track down the rest of the conspirators across the globe. If it does go global, Zero Day Season 2 could even up the action by using military strike teams instead of police, and up the political drama by including geopolitics instead of just internal American interests. Zero Day Season 2 could do essentially anything it wants with that setup. Questions left over after Zero Day's ending. Zero Day still has to deal with the fallout of the government's conspiracy and find Robert Lyndon. Robert Lyndon, Clark Gregg, in Zero Day Season 1, Episode 2. On top of the conspirators that George Mullen didn't identify, there are several more unanswered questions Zero Day Season 2 could address. Perhaps one of the biggest loose threads Zero Day Season 2 could tie up is the fate of Robert Lyndon, Clark Gregg, the investor who fled the country. The US government would likely be highly motivated to find him and bring him to justice, yet Mullen seemed unconcerned with him after he left the country. Similarly, Zero Day could check back in on other known conspirators like Alexandra, Lizzie Kaplan, as they're executed for treason. There's also the question of protease in Zero Day, and whether Mullen was actually being targeted by an experimental weapon or if he was just suffering from the earliest stages of dementia. If his symptoms were due to protease, then either the conspiracy went much deeper into the bowels of the US government than previously thought, or some outside group had access to classified NSA weaponry. Either option is harrowing, and would provide more than enough material for a riveting story in Zero Day Season 2. That would even provide an opportunity for Robert De Niro to return to the role of George Mullen. Another major source of possible storylines could be Monica Kidder, Gabby Hoffman. Zero Day briefly mentioned Kidder's antitrust suits as a side story, but Zero Day Season 2 could dive deeper into the implications of tech billionaires holding America's digital infrastructure hostage. The show could even get more technical and focus on America's attempts to stop another Zero Day from happening, whether that's through government oversight or more aggressive antitrust legislation. There are so many unanswered questions and new leads for Zero Day to explore that another season is much more than possible, even if it isn't confirmed.